We are here, part of the interview on the BNAir.com network, the EdgeOnAir.com, and EvolutionPop.com. I am really pleased we have such a special guest here today at the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. We have Andreas Mitisek, and he has Therese Racquin here in Chicago. And first off, you haven't been here a long time, but welcome to Chicago.
Well, thank you. I enjoy the cold.
We're here, coming from Austria originally. Give us a version, your version of how you went there to California to here in Chicago. And again, check everything out online, of course, at the ChicagoOperaTheatre.org to get all the information February 20th to the 28th. But you have such a vast background. Award-winning here in Chicago, known for so many surprises, and we're going to get to that in a second. But give us your version of how you made it here for the Chicago Opera Theatre.
Well, I'm originally from Vienna, raised, born, and educated, and I've been for the last 11 years now general director of Long Beach Opera, which is a similar kind of adventurous opera company out in Los Angeles. And for the last 3 years now, I've been going back and forth between Los Angeles and Chicago, also being the general director of the Chicago Opera Theatre.
You're here at the Chicago Opera Theatre, and I've looked on the website. I've seen reviews. It is a illustrious. It is lustful. It is a raw opera, and the clips I have seen moved me. In the video clips, I cannot wait a week from now to see the actual production. Why did you take this one on? What was it about Tobias Picker's piece that spoke to you and said, I want to direct this?
Well, I like the word you said, lustful. I think that's part of that story. You know, it has all the ingredients. It's that great stories that you rip from today's headlines have. It has sex, it has adultery, it has murder, it has ghosts. So I think it all comes together in a great, thrilling story. You know, I don't even like to call it opera in that sense. It's a thriller with music.
You're known for surprises, and I don't want to give any surprises away. You got to go see the show. Everybody's got to go see it. You've done performances in parking lots. You've done them at not water parks, but by swimming pools. What may we see with this one? That's one of your touches.
Well, I don't know if you ever seen a ghost come out in the middle of your bed or seen someone being drowned on stage, but you know.
I have nightmares of my mother-in-law sometimes. I hope that's.
Well, we shouldn't get into that, but I think it's a great piece that has some really stunning little effects that the audience, when we did this production in California, really had a grand time with it. And again, I think, you know, it's Chicago Opera Theatre is a hip company. You just go there as you are. You don't have to dress up necessarily fancy. You can just go there and enjoy.
I'm excited for it again, February 20th to the 28th, happening Chicago OperaTheatre.org. When you look at the production as a whole, your cast. I know you weren't the casting director per se, but you have.
I was actually.
Oh, you were.
I was.
Now you're just surprising me with everything. You have an all-star cast. I mean, when I saw the names and I saw the accolades that these people have performed at all over, and I've actually seen a performance at the Omaha Theater. You know, I lived there for a while, and you have performers that have performed with you not only here, but in Long Beach and across the country, and some even performances in Ontario. How was it getting this cast together? It had to have been exciting.
Well, I think I agree. We have a great cast. It's upcoming rising stars. Some of them have sung at the Lyric here in Chicago at the Metropolitan Opera. With some, I performed even in Italy, in Verona, at the famous Arona di Verona. It is just fun for them to come together, and it's very exciting for them to dive into a story, especially in an opera that doesn't get done that often. And so I think they're all thrilled to just be here and perform.
The book, Émile Zola happened to write the piece of Therese Racquin. What is your familiarity with the book itself? Did you dive into maybe find something a little bit different to bring out of the text that maybe Tobias Picker, the writer of the opera, and maybe combine pieces together?
I think I recommend to read the book. It's a really short read, and it's a fun, well, fun is maybe not the right word, but it's a gripping story. And I think, you know, what Tobias did with the opera, you can't bring a whole book on stage, so you have to make selections. And I think he did a great job in kind of, you know, editing down to the real gruesome parts. But I think what we tried to do on stage is to really kind of portray the environment that Zola describes in the book. You know, the nitty-gritty of Paris. It really takes place in a dingy side street. It's a poor family, and it's kind of makes you really happy about your own life.
Yeah. I'm so excited, like I said, on the website, on chicagooperatheatre.org. I saw a clip, one of the performances, and like I said, it was a lustful scene. But one word I want to use with this as well, it's very raw. How is it like to get the emotions out of your actors to portray this while keeping their composure to sing, you know, an amazing piece?
Well, that's always an interesting challenge for an actor, for a singer to dive into a role that maybe is different from their own character. You know, who thinks about murdering their husband or their wife?
We don't want an answer to that.
I mean, you know, thinking about it is a different thing, but then doing it is even more different. But I think for them, really, it takes a lot of imagination and soul searching in the dark corners of their own personalities to figure out, how do I get into the mindset of a murderer? How do I get in the mindset of someone who betrays their husband? And I think the other part is that you can't get lost in that, because then, you know, as a singer, you know, you still have to be able to perform. So it's the balance between really emotionally investing in the part, but also then making sure that you can perform and not getting drowned in tears.
Sure, as you're performing through.
Yeah.
Coming up also at Chicago Opera Theater, you have a coffin in Egypt, and you have Luciosia. What was it like picking those pieces? Just to get, I know we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but I'm just excited to know and see these upcoming pieces. What was it like to pick those coming up? Because I've seen some pieces for Coffin in Egypt, and it just looks so exciting.
It's a great piece. Coffin in Egypt is actually a play by Horton Foote. You know, lots of people know him for his screenplay for To Kill a Mockingbird. But he is really a great author and writer about the small town America stories. And this piece is a great opportunity to work with one of the greatest singers of our times, Frederica von Stade, who has sung all over the world, you know, with every major company, every major conductor, every major stage director. And so she's coming to Chicago for this Chicago premiere and portray the role of a 90-year-old woman who is looking back at her life in regret in many ways, because her husband betrayed her, there was murder in the family, and it's coming to grips with her life. And just watching Frederica von Stade, it's a 90-minute, non-stop, you know, one-woman show basically. It's just one of the amazing experiences you can have on a stage. So, you're happy to do that.
Yeah, that's great. Excited for it. Get your tickets now, of course, at chicagooperatheatre.org. You also have a 1956 rendition of Therese Racquin being viewed. What made you want to show a movie to kind of preview your audience for what they're going to see on stage?
Well, Therese Racquin has had many different lives on many different forms, and you know, besides the stage as a play and the opera, there are many versions in movies, and one of the really great French movies from the 1950s is Simone Signoret. She was one of the great French actresses. And, you know, we just wanted our audiences and everyone else to just offer another viewpoint of what that story is and how it can be told in different ways. In that movie, for example, it takes place in a train and not, you know, on the side street, but it's the same storyline, and it's a fabulous movie. You should go and see it.
I plan on it. I also plan on seeing Therese Racquin in just a few weeks here in Chicago. Before I let you go, what is, if you were to give our listeners and the viewers one reason to go see this show?
Well, you can't see it anywhere else, and it's the best theater and the best music theater opera in the city this year.
I'm excited to see it. ChicagoOperaTheatre.org is where you can get tickets. Andreas, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see it. February 20th to the 28th, again, ChicagoOperaTheatre.org to get your tickets for Chicago Opera Theatre's performance of Therese Racquin. Thank you for being here for the BeOnAir.com network.